Hello, I'm Shazza and welcome to my channel Hooked on Books. Today I am going to be doing the Shakespeare Book Tag. I was tagged in this by the lovely Cara over at Wild Book Garden. I will leave her link to her channel in the description box, so thank you, Cara. And let's get on with the questions. The first thing that I could think of was Cathy and Heathcliff from Withering Heights. Terrible couple, but you know, they still obviously care about each other to the point of obsession. Yes, definitely to the point of obsession, but you know, they still care about each other. Honestly, most of the books that I read are kind of hard to explain. If I read like lots of really plot heavy books, then it's much easier because I mean, it's easy just to kind of say what the plot is. Whereas because I read a lot of books that are sort of thematic or more about an idea, it's kind of hard to get across what the reading experience is actually like. There's no way of kind of conveying that. I feel like a lot of the time I just need people to experience it for themselves. And when I try to explain certain books, I just come off like an absolute pretentious twat. Obviously, The Hobbit. I feel like this can apply quite generally across the board. I think there's a lot of female characters that aren't given enough time. We don't get to know them enough, they're not as well developed. You know, the character development is just very limited a lot of the time. I think I've been quite lucky in that I've steered away from a lot of books that are like that. So I couldn't think of anything specific, but I am aware that it's a very common occurrence. I'm not sure if I really have a favourite poem as such. Anything by Emily Dickinson if I'm looking for something deep, dark and meaningful. Anything by Kate Tempest if I'm looking for something modern and gritty. And anything by Harry Baker if I'm looking for some light-hearted relief. Those poets could be more contrasting, but I do love them all. This just instantly made me think about the book Into the Wild, because here is a guy who is just so determined to live the life that he believes he is meant to lead. He is, you know, a very passionate individual and just he's very well off. You know, he literally just like gave up everything to go into the wild and live as a free individual. And of course, you know, being free isn't always... It's not an easy thing to do because it does mean like giving up all the kind of comforts in life. It means the security in life kind of goes. Freedom definitely does come at a cost, but he is so determined to just do what he wants to do. Still can't decide whether I find this guy an absolute inspiration or an absolute fucking idiot, to be honest. Female madness, I guess, is something that I really love in literature, especially because a lot of the time what I get from it is that a lot of the time the woman may come across as like mad, but actually when you look at it, she's the one that's often completely sane, and it's really the circumstances that she is in that's completely mad, and I love that. So more of that would be wonderful. For this one I have went with Full Dark No Stars by Stephen King. I'm not entirely sure if this is a lesser known work, but I don't really hear very many people talk about it that much. It's a collection of novellas, obviously horror. They're kind of horror stories that are realistic in that they're everyday things that could happen to anyone, which I really enjoyed because it really put me in that position of imagining myself in these situations and kind of thinking about what I would do if I was the character, which was really creepy, and it was a very enjoyable read. I read it about 7 years ago and I still kind of remember it, and I don't often remember books that well. I found this so hard. The only person that I could think about was Miss Trunchbull from Matilda. Honestly, I think there needs to be more female villains, especially, I think like women can be just as villainous as men, and I think that that's a perception that people fail to see sometimes. So there needs to be more female villains. For a book I hate, A Little Life, Elves. Everyone talks about this being a real testament to friendship. Didn't get that from it at all. Couldn't really understand why any of them were friends. I just found everyone kind of annoying, to be honest. I still find it harrowing, and I definitely think there's some redeemable factors within it, but for the most part just wasn't really a fan. For a book I love, I went for Maya Angelou's I Know Why a Caged Bird Sings to contrast A Little Life. Because she talks about abuse and her life experiences in such a way that is really honest, really raw and really realistic, but it's got this sort of positivity to it. It's not a misery memoir by any means, and I love that. And I just felt like, especially that by the end of it, I felt uplifted and inspired rather than pissed off and depressed. I'm not sure who has or hasn't done this tag, so I will put some names in the description box, so definitely check the description box to see if you are tagged. So thank you again to Cara for tagging me in this. This was the Shakespeare Book Tag, really fun tag. If I don't tag you and you haven't done it and you haven't been tagged, I've said the word tag too many times, but if you want to do the tag, do the tag. And I'm going to go now. Thank you for watching. Bye.